Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the True Story News Podcast. First and foremost, I want to apologize for my absence. Excuse me, a little under the weather. I have been off all my platforms for a little bit, and those people who still don't know I'm on other platforms, they still hit me up like, "Oh, what happened to you?" Because they only know me from that one YouTube channel. I have two YouTube channels. One is the podcast channel. I have a podcast. I'm on Rockfin, rather. I'm on Odyssey, and I have Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I'm pretty much on Facebook every day, so I'm not gone. I'm around, So yeah, but honestly, I've been off all my platforms lately because I was moving, and moving is a big, exhausting deal, especially moving thrice. I moved from New York to an Airbnb in Florida, and then from the Airbnb to a more permanent spot in Florida. And it's been exhausting, and I'm still traveling. So yeah, I have not been pumping out videos or blogs or podcasts. So my apologies. Doing all that, moving 3 times while juggling a full-blown career is not easy. But anyway, I want to jump in and just pretty much, this is not going to be a long video. This is just a touching base video. Just, I couldn't post. I couldn't post on my video because I had 2 strikes. They're just giving people strikes and removing video because they're still doing this disingenuous misinformation thing. They're lying and protecting the lies, so they're deleting people's videos. And I was on strike too, so I couldn't post anything. I had to relax for a little bit, so I have not been posting. So now I'm back down to 1 strike. So maybe I can post this. I can afford another strike. So let's jump into some of the topics. I was sent something like the insane Clown Posse threatened Bill Cosby. These guys are so corny. This is a sad thing when you're seeing a lot of people age and they're jumping around looking for things to be relevant. And sometimes they do it good. I can't think of someone right now, but that person will come to mind. But a lot of times they do these lame, corny things trying to be relevant. I think one of the members of an insane Clown Posse tried to go head to head with Tom McDonald, rapper, got bodied. And then, they're just looking for things to do. They're old. Nobody cares about them anymore. So they think of things to be relevant. And one of the things that they did was attack a low-hanging fruit, Bill Cosby. And the bad thing about that is what they did was so wrong, so dangerous, because they don't know anything. These guys are old and they don't know anything. They don't know what's going on. They're defending women like Janice Dickinson and all these women that were already discredited and disproven, and they don't understand what's going on with this narrative. There's no conviction. They threw it out. No, they overturned it because it was so bad. They were trying to force this guy in jail. There's no evidence for any of this. So this documentary shouldn't have been made. It's another fake documentary that they keep doing to black icons conveniently. This is the new COINTEL lynching post. They just don't have any. They don't have any evidence. They don't have any facts. These women got caught lying. Totally got caught lying. And they just, the Me Too movement and all these liberal media entities block the information. That's my kettle. They just block the information. So sorry about that. They block they block all the information. They cover up all the trip ups and the lies they got caught in. And they keep pumping out these things so that they can make some money off of these black icons being falsely accused. And, they're hiding things that are incriminating them. Like, there's a lot of criminals who accused Bill Cosby. Like, I'm not, going in on them. I'm just telling you the truth. They have criminal rap sheets. And this is the people that, insane Clown Posse. This is dangerous. This is very dangerous, where you can sit down, old and out of touch and misinformed, and just sit down and watch TV and then not understand the playing field. Not understand how dangerous media has become in this country and the world and around the world. China, Korea, they make things up. They tell you what to believe. They lie. And they're lying to you about Bill Cosby. I don't care who, disagrees. I stand by the truth. I don't care if I'm the only one. And there's a lot of fools like the insane Clown Posse following false narratives, believing whatever they're told in media. It's very irresponsible to be as, they're not big anymore, but to be as once big as they are, and to be as irresponsible and post something that could be seen as death threats. I don't know. I think, Cosby's team should get to suing these people, because that's the only way that these people are going to learn, is through being smacked on the wrist. Like, no, there's no conviction. You can't just fly off on your YouTube, on your Twitter, and, say these things about an accused man that there's no evidence. There's evidence of them lying, lots of it. I've built a channel around it. There's no evidence that he did this. So, like, this needs to be dealt with, but I'll talk about them in another video just for them. This was just a touching base coming back, because there's so many things like this. This is an issue about a celebrity, but the same problem exists in so many different realms, in very serious realms and industries and situations where people are dumbed down. They have a thinking problem. They don't use their brain, and they listen to whatever they're spoon-fed by the media, and they're mindless, like the insane Clown Posse, brainless and dangerous. They have a huge fan base. To charge them up like that, and you don't even know what's going on. You can't even name 3 accusers. You're doing this because you watched TV. We're in the excuse me. We're in a very dangerous Orwellian era where people are not thinking correctly. They're not thinking with or acting with wisdom and integrity and responsibility. Even if you can think he did it, you can think he did it because you're just one of these people who have cognitive issues, and they pelted you over the head with the believe women narrative, and you just saw all these women. None of them had any evidence. But you just saw the spectacle, and it influenced you, and so you believe, like everyone else, that he did it. I get it. But you can't go public and do things, especially when you're signed to a label, a corporate entity, and you have a platform with a blue check. Can't do these things. You can't do these things, but they're lowering the bar with what they can do to specifically Black icons. They're lowering the bar, so they need to be touched. They need to be dealt with, and illuminated to their mistake. Because it can turn around to happen to everybody. They're not doing things just to Black people. Okay, so watch the fire that you let burn in that direction, and see what happens when you just go whistling to your own yard. When this stuff comes back to you, don't be surprised. There's global attacks on all people. So there's a cliche statement, not a cliche statement, a powerful statement. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Don't be a mindless moron. Don't be a brainless idiot like the clowns. Understand what's going on in our society. Understand the danger of media. Understand what the playing field is, and act responsibly and accordingly. You can't do things like that. It's very slanderous. It's very unwarranted, and it's you're not, some people, they have their blue checks thingy. You have to do things a little bit more tactfully and be a little bit more responsible. Enough for that. A lot of people were talking about the Bob Saget death, and I think this was let me rephrase that. I was about to say this was a good thing. This is not a good thing that he died. But the silver lining in his death is that there was an implication, there was a sentiment growing that everyone knew that what he did recently, he got juiced up and, double juiced up. And he recently spoke about it, and everybody knew that. And so this mysterious death was first, initially, they said he died of heart problems, a heart attack. And, the powers that be knew that was a problematic thing, because things like heart attacks, blood clots, all those things are attributed to the concoction. So they changed that up real quick. 3 weeks later, they tell us a completely different narrative, that he hit his head and he just went to sleep and never woke up. And then they switched what they told us. It was frontal, then it was back. That they just kept changing the details and changing things. And then everyone started to, not everyone, a lot of people started to scratch their head. Something's not right. And you're going to find these things, these glitches that show everybody what is true all the time. The television lies to you every single day about everything. They tell you some of the truth to be somewhat legitimate and respected, but you living in a corporatocracy where they control everything we think, everything we see, everything we read, and they lie, they lie, they lie. Everything that comes on that damn television is a lie. They program and brainwash in the TV shows we watch, in the movies we see, and they control and they lie. And we're at a heightened time in society where these things are coming undone. The shift is here. The awakening is here, and they can't control it. This is why they're going so hard on pushing the agenda. This is why, because there's things about that I'm not going to discuss here. You might want to check out Rockfin. I might talk about it in detail. But this is Fluoride 3.0. If only you knew. But this is why they're censoring so aggressively. They're yanking people off the internet, for disagreeing with the status quo. This is ridiculous. This is an Orwellian nightmare. None of us should be well adjusted to what they're doing now. But they're doing it out of desperation. They're losing control. And this story with the Bob Saget story was one of many that people are beginning to realize, listen, I can't just sit there and believe everything they say, everything they tell me in the news, because it's probably a lie. We live in a dimension. We live in a realm. We live in a matrix in which everything you're shown is not to enlighten you, is not to level you up, is not to teach you or inform you. It's to control what you think and what you believe. Almost everything. There are white light workers who work in the system. There's light workers who work in TV and radio. There's white light workers who have channels and podcasts. There are light workers out here who are all mixed in. And they're giving you good information, and they're trying to fight from the inside. There's a lot of news reporters that are trying to fight from the inside. There's a lot of doctors and scientists trying to fight from the inside. But, their plight is a difficult one, and they have to live in fear. They can't be as honest as I am for threats to their livelihood, for threats to some of them, their lives. So yeah, there's light workers mixed in everywhere, but everything that comes out on these major channels is manipulation, is mind control, almost everything. And so people have got to wake up out of their delusions, wake up out of their sleep, and realize that, wake up. And they're afraid. It's happening. They're afraid. We also have to be aware of the traps and the tricks. There's a lot of talk about the Convoy, and I've gone to many rallies, and I've filmed many rallies, and I didn't post most of them, but I was inspired at these rallies. I met great people who feel in their heart, their well-intentions, that they're fighting, this tyranny, and that's good. What they're doing is good, and it's good they feel that, making a public presence, to show people that, you're not alone. Your normie friends and family, you're not alone. Like, there's so many of us. And in that respect, it's very good to be public and share your light. However, we have to be careful not to run straight into their traps. Protests and demonstrations are infiltrated. There's saboteurs. There's people, they plan for these things to a certain extent so that they can take more rights. And I was just talking on a podcast, just before, about this, about how they trick us. The game is so brilliantly designed for confusion, for polarization, people fighting each other. People are totally, brilliantly divided on so many issues. And we have to wake up out of that and fight the real enemy, the real threat, the real tyranny. But they have traps within traps. And one of the things that they try to do with these protests and demonstrations is create, through the Hegelian dialectic, is create some kind of issue with the truckers and the convoy. Oh, they're stopping commerce. Okay, so now we have to create order out of chaos. these dissenters are creating the chaos. So we're going to have to do something. I don't know, freeze their accounts. You're living in the tyranny, Orwellian tyranny in your face. And you have a lot of people in society that just asleep. They're brain dead. They don't want to wake up. They don't, for whatever reason or reasons, every person's different. But it's just not on their path to wake up right this second for whatever reason. And a lot of people won't wake up. But for all of you who can wake up and you do understand what's going on, the agenda, the plan is that will be successful is a collective non-compliance. Stop feeding your energy. Stop asking for permission for what you in your sovereignty have or you possess already. You don't need permission to do anything. You don't need permission to go outside unmasked. You don't need permission to do that. You don't need permission to, not take something. You don't need to do any of these things. So the solution is universal, collective, non-compliance. They're scared to death of that. Have an attitude and, just you own it. Just live in your sovereignty, live in your power, and know that you don't comply with psychotic psychopaths making things up for their AI agenda, their big tech agenda, their mass surveillance agendas, and all that stuff. To hell with them and that. Live in your power, live in your sovereignty. And for the people still sleeping all around you that don't get it, that's okay. That's their journey. We don't need all these people to wake up, just enough people collectively at the same time to all say we do not comply. If every job did that, even the ones who wanted to get just said, no, we're not complying. I'm going to go get this thing on my own because I talked it over with my family and I'm decided for myself that I'm going to get this thing. But I don't think Jackson Susan should be held down and, and shot up. That's not right. They did their own risk assessment. This guy who's 24, track star, ex-track star, has no pre-existing conditions. He doesn't have to roll the dice with an experimental thing. It doesn't make sense for this guy. Science doesn't support you giving him an experiment. It doesn't make sense, so he shouldn't be forced to do it. This guy over here shouldn't be forced to do it. I decided to do it for myself because this is what, I talked over with my family, went over my risk assessment, and I chose, if it's foolish, hey, that's my choice, to believe pharma. Not going to cast a judgment or opinion on that, but I chose to believe them. But that was my choice, and so be it. Let me live in my choice, but let them live in their choice. Do not support tyranny. Do not support what they're doing. And when your friends and family are asleep, continue to be a light among them by not compromising with them, not fighting with them. I love my family to death. I don't think they agree with me on anything, but that's okay. That's okay. We love and respect each other just the same, but I don't compromise, and they know that. They know that. They will hear my opinion on a lot of things. I don't compromise the truth with anybody. I don't try to compromise the light. I hold the light. I protect the light, and I spread the light on my channels to the best of my abilities, and the light spreads, and it goes and it reaches to where it's meant to go. And this is what we are to do. It's all mind. Everything is mind. We are to rescue our mind back from the system, from the matrix. They want to control us. They want to manipulate us. They want chaos. They want us all fighting. They want us all at each other's throats. And it helps further their agenda. For example, another thing I said on the podcast was, people are so divided by race. People are divided by politics. There's a lot of people who are liberal Democrats who just are going along with the tyranny because they're Democrats and they think that that's the way to do it. And they're at odds with people who they feel are conservatives and Trump people or racists, because that's just the political stuff and junk they've collected, and that's what's shaping their thinking. So they feel I'm not giving anything up to a Trump supporter. I'm not giving anything up to this guy. I'm not giving anything up to the red team. So I'm going to wear my mask. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Like, no, we need to drop these 3D matrix affiliations, their illusions and their traps, keeping you on a lower vibration, keeping you from processing things correctly, thinking clearly, making smart decisions, not decisions based from indoctrination, programming, and fear. You know, no one's asking anyone to be foolish, ridiculous, anti-science. No, but thinking with your mind intact, thinking with your integrity intact, you know, regaining control of your mind, processing information correctly, the right way. You know, a lot of people cannot do that this day and age. You're seeing a lot of brainwash people. And not to bring it back to the insane clown posse, but it's just one example of many showing you that people can't think. They can't use their brain. They've lost their ability to be ethical or to have integrity because corporations control every damn thing they do. They can't be objective and realize, hey, wait a minute. His court case got overturned. That should mean something, right? All these women, none of them have evidence. Like, you know, and I don't want to go into that again. I'm just giving you examples of, this is why I cover certain cases, to show you how the world is so positive that something is so true. And everyone overwhelmingly will believe something against all odds. But no, the truth is right here. You just don't vibrate with it. You vibrate in the matrix and you go like with the sheep and you listen to the celebrities and you listen to, you know, you don't vibrate in the truth. There's very few of us holding the light and waking people up. And there is a mass awakening of people waking up, dropping their enslavement to misinformation, media misinformation, dropping their enslavement to mind control, to groupthink. And people are waking up and they're really trying to fight this. So many things I want to get into, so many topics I want to talk about, but I did promise to keep this short. I am coming out with a podcast going in more depth, and then I'm going to be doing more of my video essays, big video essays. I'm going to do one on this docuseries, Cosby docuseries, which is yellow journalism, because you can't support these things because they're not going to stop there. There's all these people who don't give a damn about Cosby, who don't care. So they're not looking at the unethical things that were done, the lies that were promoted on a mainstream platform, you know, that was funded. You know, this can turn around to you easily when you let these things happen. These things need to be resisted and fought. Get out of your emotions. They control us by our emotions. They got all these women, many of whom were assaulted. So they have this trauma. They got you emotionally thinking like basket cases because you can't think reasonably. Or when they exploit your trauma and say, hey, that guy's the baddie. Look at him. Hey, you have all these women, they can't think. They can't use logic and reason, and they hate people like me to, you know, slap them in the face with the truth. Sit down. Stop it. None of this is true, you know? But yeah, so I'm going to be doing a big one about that. Just going to talk about Mr. Kamau Bell and the docuseries he made. He didn't make it. He put his name on it. But we're going to go in depth and just pull that thing apart piece by piece. And I don't want to stay there. There's other things I want to talk about. But these things are good examples to show you the power of media and how they lie. They use the truth to lie. It's amazing. It's media. This is sorcery. Dark magic. So yeah, guys, I'm going to be doing that. Look forward to more podcasts on the podcast channels since the one strike was removed. So I'll be talking more on that, maybe inviting some guests to talk about some issues. I want to talk about veganism. I had a great conversation with someone who disagrees with me, and that's the beauty of the conversation because we disagree, but it's just a very good chess match, you know, of ideology. And I want to talk about that because we agree, we compromise on certain things. Like, I don't care who you are, what you want to eat. The food is not good. The meat is not good. That meat that's sitting in the supermarkets, it's going to kill you. So, hate vegans. I don't care. We agree on that. But it's the eat meeting period that we were having a conversation about, which was really, really good. And I think that would make for a very good podcast instead of all these like one-sided things. It's good to have like both sides having an honest, even exchange. So I'll look forward to that. And, that's it. Guys, be healthy, be well. Stop listening to pharmakia. Stop listening to these demonic entities set up to convince you of things. Get out of your groupthink and, just really, move forward with integrity, with the vibration of truth, and respect your sovereignty and your freedom. You've been made to despise it. You've been made to cling to your masters. You've been made to, in fear, serve the beast system. Stop it, break the programming, break the programming. All right. So that's all for now. Look forward to the next videos. I'm going to be putting them out. Once again, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can hit up the Patreon. This is not easy stuff, so I wouldn't mind that. So until the next time, guys, be well.